championship season?
I actually did. This was a really good break. I made it a point to really just focus on the family. Spent a lot of time with my boys, spent a lot of time with the wife. Just had an opportunity to kind of disengage and get ready for the next run.
How do you feel about your running back room as things get started?
I'm excited. I'm excited with the opportunities for the young guys. I'm excited to see where Travis is. Obviously, we spent a little bit of time apart because of the NCAA rules, but I'm excited to see where he is, see where his mindset is, excited to see the growth in Linjay. So I'm really excited to just get back to work with those guys and see what they've done this summer, and then see what our role is going to be on this year's team and go work.
You need Linjay to take a step up in what areas do you see him improve?
Of course, I think Linjay is a guy that had a lot of success as a freshman. So the biggest thing is I want to see that he comes back with the right state of mind, a focus, not resting on his success last year. Continue to improve. When running with the football, he's got to get his pad level down. Continue to run high at times. I want to see that he's really progressed his upper body strength, so he's more confident in his technique and pass protection. I want to see him, accept his role as a leader now, even though he's just a sophomore. He's a guy that has some equity on the field, and now he's going to be in a position where he's going to be called upon by his teammates to be a leader. So those are things I want to see him do.
What kind of talks have you had with Linjay as far as leadership, stepping up his game since Tavian decided to leave?
Hey, just told him that he might have thought that he had a little bit of time, but everything happens for a reason, and now his guys on his team were expecting him to just step in. But the biggest thing is try not to do too much. Just be who you are. Just focus on the things that we talk about in our meeting room every single day. And if you do that, then the leadership will come.
Does he have traits that remind you somewhat of Travis as a younger player?
They're similar. Yeah, both of them got great personalities, and you could tell coming in the door as freshmen, they kind of were just happy to be here. They knew they had some veteran leadership in front of them, so they really didn't necessarily embrace that role. But I do see now that just like Travis, Travis is in the same situation. Obviously, Travis had a little bit of a comfort level with Taven there too. Taven being a senior, the leader in that room, and now he's the guy. And so for both of those guys, I've noticed a little bit of transition in their personalities from their freshman to their sophomore year. They're a little bit more serious about the business, and that's what you need to see.
Coach, you have a talented freshman who's here now, but the loss of Savian, what does that mean just for the depth of your running back group?
Obviously, it just means the young guys got to be ready to go, and I got to do a great job in preparing those guys, and one, quickly assessing where they're at, and figure out the areas that I need to help, what I need to do to help them improve so they can be ready to go, and then really just push them as hard as I can, and then see how much they can retain and get them ready to go. And obviously it was a big loss, but Taven, he did what he was supposed to do here, and I'm proud of him for stepping up and making the decision that he thought was best for him in his future. The only thing for me, as long as he graduates. Once he graduates, he's fulfilled his commitment to me, his commitment to Clemson, and wish him best going forward.
Have you stayed in touch with him at all?
I have. We haven't talked anything about recruiting, about where he's going, because again, that's a decision for him and his family. The biggest thing for me is just making sure that he stays on track to graduate, make sure that he's working out, make sure that he's prepared for wherever he goes, that he's in position to go compete. Because that was the objective of him moving on, is he wanted to go put himself in a situation that he thought was best for him in his future. And I'm just trying to support him through that process, and even beyond that process, we'll continue to stay in touch because he's one of my guys.
How surprised were you left?
How surprised? I think the timing caught me off guard a little bit because he had a great spring. Taven had a great spring, and we had already talked about what we were going to do going forward, kind of the plan for next season for him. And just in his quiet time, he was searching for peace with where he was at. And so the biggest thing for me was just the timing of it. I'm not necessarily surprised because he's a competitor. He wants to be the guy. He wants to get as much opportunity as he can, and he just felt like he needed to go somewhere else to do that.
Tony, tight end position, you lost Braden Galloway, you picked up Jalen Lay. What are you looking at as far as depth at the tight end position this year?
I'm anxious to get back on the field and see where Jalen is. Jalen really made some strides toward the back end of spring. Kind of came in wide-eyed as a guy coming in straight out of high school, first spring practice, and everything we asked those guys to do at the tight end position. Looked like he was a little bit overwhelmed early on, but you started to see him calm down. You started to see him understand what we wanted from him in that position. So I'm excited to see that. And then Davis Allen is a guy that just showed up. and just I'm really impressed with his knowledge of the game. And you can tell that he comes from a great high school program where he's well prepared. I'm just anxious to see how it looks once we get our hands on him. And then J.C. Chalk, J.C. Chalk's a guy that's been in the program for a while, and he understands that now it's his time. His teammates are calling on him, and we kind of always in this position each year. We lose a guy, and then somebody has to step up. We don't know who it's going to be, but I'm confident that J.C. Chalk's going to embrace his opportunity and provide what we need in that position.
Coach, starting Sean Pollard at center in August and moving Cervenka over to right guard, what does that say about how quickly Pollard has kind of learned the center position, and how does that enable you to utilize Cervenka's best talents at guard?
I think it just gives us, a lot of options and a lot of depth. And that's really what we've always been challenged by Coach Sweeney with on the offensive line, to make sure that we cross-train those guys, that we have versatility, so that we can get the best 5 guys on the field at the same time. And for Pollard, he's a student of the game. He's played just about every position on the offensive line, and the biggest thing for him was just could he be comfortable snapping the ball, and he looks like he's very comfortable snapping the ball. And Gage is a guy that his strength is his strength. As strong as he is, he can move people. And when you're at the center position, man, it's tough when you got to snap the ball, step, and move people at the same time. So as of right now, it's a good starting point. But again, you could easily see Gage back at Cervenka back at center. You can see Pollard back at guard, and that just gives us a lot of comfort knowing that we got some veteran guys that can be versatile.
Tony, moving over to the left tackle, you had Mitch Hyatt left and you lost a lot of snaps, and you got Jackson Carman sliding in there. What does Jackson need to work on this year as he slides into that position, all that leadership leaving that position?
Correct. The biggest thing for Jackson is just being consistent. I think we all know how talented Jackson is, both physically and mentally. I don't think that many people understand how smart Jackson Carman is. And so his ability to pick up the system in the offense is not an issue. The biggest thing for him is just being consistent, make sure that he manages his body, keep his body at the right weight so that he can play and be in the best condition. And then not try to do too much. Don't try to be Mitch. Just be Jackson. That's what he needs to do. Just be Jackson. Take coaching every single day and continue to work on little things, and then everything will come into play.
This summer when Congress had strict dietary guidelines from you, or kind of what were they?
No, it wasn't too strict, and that's something that's always fascinating to me and is to watch these guys' body develop and grow, and then try to coach them through becoming comfortable with the new body composition. And we had a discussion, and we're still trying to figure out what the right weight range is for him. And he's gotten up, probably 212, 213 pounds. Maybe doesn't feel quite as confident at that weight, but he gets down to 205, and then he doesn't feel quite as confident at being 205. So we're trying to find that happy medium. But I think he's in a good place because he's thinking about it. He's thinking about it. He's really trying to understand his body and feel his body. And I think the biggest thing for him is as he continues to improve his upper body strength, I think ultimately that's going to be the biggest confidence that he has.
Coach, how much do you talk to your players about pressure, handling pressure now being 2 of the last 3 titles?
Don't talk about it at all. Just one, not trying to create a thought in their mind that may not already exist. But again, here we understand how big the target is on our back, but the mentality here is to embrace the target. So we don't talk about pressure. We understand that the rankings, and it's that time of year where everyone's going to be talking, and that's for everybody else to be talking. We understand and we know what the formula is for success, and it goes back to starting over. We haven't done anything in 2019. We got to start over. We're going to start here on August 1st, and we're going to get what we earn, and what we earn is what we put on the field. So we don't talk about pressure. We focus on being the best version of ourselves, and if that sort of transpires into being one of the best teams, then so be it. But ultimately, we're just focused on being the best version of ourselves.
Coach,
big picture looking at us, there were some situations, overall we probably could have managed better. We had some guys, some young guys in some positions. So the situational football, we always got to improve. Short yardage is something that we always look at. Red zone, obviously we were decent in the red zone from a percentage standpoint, but there were still some things we could do better, in the red zone. Now we understand that everybody's looking at us, everybody's gunning us. So just our overall technique, we got to continue to improve at every single position. And then again, it's kind of exciting going into 2019. It's all kind of not all new pieces, but kind of pieces in different spots, and we got to figure out what that's going to look like.
Coach, you lost Amari Rogers.
For Trevor, the biggest thing is leadership. Just leadership, and then going forward, not trying to do too much. There's a young guy that came in and really grasped the system right out the gate, had a lot of success, and You know, a lot of times a young man in a situation like that, they can try and see too much. So make sure that he's not trying to see too much, not trying to do too much. You don't want to really master the system so that you can teach it further to other people. That's when you really have a grasp of it. You know, fundamentally, in the pocket, just clean up footwork. You know, at times being consistent with his footwork. Sometimes he'll drift. You know, tackle may be a good position. You know, with the end, and he may drift into the tackle. But just those kind of little things. But overall, leadership and just mastery of the system and then situational football, being able to handle situations a little bit better. You know, whether it's in the red zone, whether it's a 2-minute situation, whether it's a 4-minute situation. I just think about that.
Tony, you lost Amari Rogers late in the spring. Talk about the development of Darion Kendrick, and what are you going to have to do to keep him off the other side of the ball?
I don't know if we're going to be able to keep him off the other side of the ball. But ultimately, if that's where he helps the team best, then that's what we want. At the end of the day, we want to win football games. We want to do what's best for the team. So if DK at corners is what really helps the football team, then I'm all for it. And he spent most of the spring over there, so we didn't have him much from a developmental standpoint on offense. And so with that just means other guys got to step up. And so when DK moved over, it gave Overton an opportunity to really show his value. And man, he had an awesome spring. And now you got encouragement for some of those other guys like Cornell Powell now has an opportunity, TJ Chase. And so that's where the focus will be going in. And then if we do get DK back at some point in the season, or if we get some packages with him, then we'll figure out how we're going to work him into the offense. The biggest thing is focusing on those other guys, getting them ready to fill in that spot.
Tagging on to that, the wide receiver group, you've got a larger wide receiver group again. It seems like every year you're worried about how you're going to spread the snaps out. Again, you have a wide receiver group looking for snaps. What are you going to do there?
Right. Well, that's a question for Joe Scott. But no, that's one of the great things about Coach Sweeney and the philosophy within our program. If guys have earned the right to play, man, let them play. And we don't focus on how many touches, so to speak, that these guys getting, but just make your touches count, make your plays count. And so that stuff will all work itself out. And as we get into this fall camp, and we really figure out what the identity. We don't know what the identity of this 2019 offense is yet. We haven't been out there on the field yet. So as that comes to life, then we'll start to figure out from a coaching standpoint, schematically, how we're going to distribute the ball. But ultimately, those guys, it's their job to go out and to compete every day in practice, earn the trust of their coaches, and then solidify that, hey, they deserve to be on the field, and then we'll figure it out, and then the touches, they'll work themselves out.
Tony, as far as the offense goes, with the losses on defense, is there any concern about the first couple of games we may have to outscore other teams? Is there any concern about that?
No concern with that, because our objective every time we get on the field is we want to go score points. And so it doesn't matter what the defense is doing, so to speak. Now we want to play complementary football. There's no question about that, because we're our football team, and our role is to do whatever we need to do, to win the football game. So we won't put any emphasis on the losses on defense. And let me tell you something. We learned this spring. That we got our butts handed to us a couple times in a couple practices because we may have had that mindset. So it was a great opportunity to teach our football team that every single day, every single play, you're focusing on being the best version of yourself, and everything will take care of itself. We won't have that conversation. We'll focus more on our job is to score points.
What are some of the things you've heard about Malusi just being on campus a short time he's been here and summer workout?
For him, he's a very focused young man. You can tell that he's got a lot of maturity. Comes from a great program, so he's got a very, very strong foundation from a strength standpoint. Just talking to some of the older guys, saying he's moving around well, he's grasping what they're trying to teach him. But I won't be able to fully assess that until I get out there. I get my eyes on him, get my hands on him. But everything I've heard has been really positive on him and Mike. How's Amari? As far as I know, everything is going great. You see him walking around here. I know he's out there running. He's anxious to. Amari's the kind of guy, man. He's a pro. He conditions his body. He prepares like a pro. And he's going to try and get back as fast as he can. So all indications is that everything is on track. And it looks great. And walking around, he's got a big smile on his face. And he's working every day.
4 hours.
Get themselves.